You may proceed, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Warner, introduce yourself to the jury and spell your name for the court reporter in front of you, please.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Warner, Tracywarner.
So that's Tracy without an E.
Correct.
Okay. Now, how are you related to Andre?
Andre is my son.
And are you here to talk today about Andre's life and upbringing and background?
That's correct.
Before we get into that, I want to just have you tell the jury a little bit about yourself and your life, okay?
Okay.
What's your date of birth?
7/19/70. Makes me 50 years old. 51 next month.
I didn't ask that question.
Sorry.
It's okay. I just wanted to be noted. I did not ask you.
Okay.
And what do you do for a job? What do you do for work?
I work in a deli.
Okay. And for who? For what company?
Do I have to say that? For my...
Uh,
Okay. I'd rather not, only because this is on court TV and stuff.
Okay.
No, I'm not trying to be rude, sir.
So you work for a deli?
I do,
Okay.
yes.
All right. And how long have you worked for this deli?
I've been there for about 1.5 years now.
Where are you from?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York originally.
And how long did you live in Brooklyn?
For about 16 years, my first 16 years.
All right. And tell us a little bit about your mom and dad. Tell us about your dad.
Dad was a great dad. I'm
What's his
sorry, I
name?
lost my father last year, so I'm sorry. Here I go already. He was always supportive. He was there. He was the provider for the family. Mom was able to be a stay-at-home mom because Dad worked very hard. Was a loving father to me and my brother. An even more loving grandfather to my children.
What's your dad's name?
My dad's name is George Franisovich.
Okay.
It's a long one.
And that's spelled F-R-A-N-E.
Oh, I-C-E.
I-C-E.
V-I-C-H.
Okay. And tell us about your mom. What's your mom's name?
Mom is Doris Franisovich as well. She was great. She was a stay-at-home mom, took care of us. When we got older, she started working part-time at a library and then at a Sears, but was always there for us, always supportive of us, myself and my brother.
Where's your mom from?
My mom's from originally Brooklyn, New York as well.
Okay. Is she from this?
Her heritage is Puerto Rican,
Okay.
so her parents are from Puerto Rico.
Okay. And your father?
Yugoslavian.
Okay.
They were actually raised in California, but his heritage is Yugoslavian.
So your mother and father were a mixed couple.
Correct.
Okay. And while you were living in, I know you said you were born, I believe you said in Brooklyn.
Yes.
And while you were living there in New York, did you move around in different places?
We did.
Okay, tell us where you moved around.
We lived in Brooklyn, we lived in Queens, we lived in Long Island, and then back to Queens before we moved to New Jersey.
Okay. And I want to talk with you about what life was like for you and your family when you lived on Long Island when you were growing up. Did you have it? What was that like? Were there any issues?
We did face some issues, some racial tension in being a interracial couple, although it's not black and white, still Hispanic and white, and it was a majority white neighborhood. Well, actually, I won't say majority, it was all white neighborhood besides us. And we did have some racial tension.
Okay. Can you describe that a little more? What types of things would you go through?
I remember specifically having to sleep on the floor in the dining room because my father was afraid that people were going to be shooting at the house. My cousin had told me one time when I was not there that they burned a cross in our yard. So my father feared for our lives.
And did this have an impact on how your father just allowed the family to interact with other people?
Oh yeah, he got very protective. We actually moved back to Queens into my aunt's house so we could be surrounded by family.
And then eventually, did you move out of the state of New York altogether?
Yes, we moved to Trenton, New Jersey.
And why did you move to Trenton?
My father thought it'd be a little safer and yet still able to commute to work where he worked in Manhattan. So it was just a train ride away.
All right. How did you do in school?
In my earlier years, not so great. I mean, because I was bullied more because of the racial tension. Once again, just it was mainly white. I was an outsider. Besides the fact that I was biracial, the fact that we were new. You know, when you're outsider, most of the people where we lived were all there for many, many years.
But did you eventually have any challenges in schooling?
I was left back in the 10th grade.
Okay. But did you eventually graduate?
I actually got my GED after I had Andre.
Okay. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but how old were you when you had Andre?
19.
Okay, so you ended up getting your GED at 19.
Correct.
And what year did you drop out of high school?
I had him in December of '89. I never returned to school after that.
Okay. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. But before we do, I want to talk with you about some relationships that you developed. Specifically, I'd like to talk with you about your relationship with someone named Paul Warner. Who is Paul Warner?
Paul is Andre's father.
Okay. Can you tell the jury how you and Mr. Warner met?
I was in high school. I had a good friend, and we were taking a child care class together. We actually interned and went a few blocks to a daycare and worked there during a few hours of school time. And she had a boyfriend who brought his friend along, and I met him, thought he was cute, started getting along, started dating, and eventually we were engaged to be married and wound up getting pregnant with Andre before marriage.
So you and Paul ended up getting engaged, and then after the engagement, you learned you were pregnant with Andre.
Correct.
And how did your family respond to that? You would have been about 18 years old at the time?
I was 18 at the time, yeah.
How did your family respond to the pregnancy?
They were supportive, actually, especially since we were already engaged to be married. Paul had been quite a figure in the family. He had come to the house quite often, and I'm sure my parents knew we were sexually active, so I guess it was no surprise when I popped up pregnant.
Okay. And how did Paul's family respond to that?
Same, they were very supportive. They took me in. Actually, we moved in with them for a short period of time before we got our own place as well, and loved Andre dearly.
How did you feel about being 18 and pregnant?
I was scared. I was young. I wanted to finish school, but I wanted to be home with my son as well. But I had so much support with my parents and his parents, so it was easy but scary being a young mom. I don't know if any of you saw, but it's just being a parent, period, is scary. But to be a young mom, it was a little scary.
What was scary about it?
The fact I didn't know what to do. I didn't really have a full-time job to take care of, so I was depending on my family to help with stuff and Paul to help with stuff.
I mean, you're 18, so you're pretty much a kid yourself,
Yeah.
right? At that age, were you still trying to find your own way in the world?
Definitely.
Still trying to learn your own life lessons?
Definitely.
Still trying to learn your own coping skills?
Yes.
They don't give a parenting class for 18-year-olds, do they?
I think they do now, but back then they didn't.
Okay. So you were just thrown into the deep end.
Correct.
Now, how long after Andre was born were you and Paul married? I mean, and what I mean by that is Andre was born, and then how much time passed before you?
It was about 4 months.
4 months,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And then the next area that we're going to go through is some residential history, and it's safe to say that after Andre was born, you moved around a lot, right?
I did.
And so after Andre was born, while you and Paul were newly married, where did you live?
We moved to a little apartment in Pennsylvania.
Okay, and what city in Pennsylvania?
Bristol, Pennsylvania.
And how long did you live there?
6 months to a year, maybe, at the most.
So the time that you would have lived in Bristol, Pennsylvania, Andre would have been basically, well, did you live with your mom and dad for a little bit after Andre was born?
A short period of time,
Okay, how long?
Just a few months, maybe.
Okay. So Andre would have been maybe approximately 6 months old when you moved to Bristol?
That's about right.
And then you would have lived in Bristol, Pennsylvania until Andre was somewhere between a year to 18 months old.
Correct. That'd be right.
Now, after you moved to Bristol, did things change with your relationship with Paul?
It did.
Okay. How did that change?
I was a stay-at-home mom. I put on a lot of weight for just staying at home, just having a baby. Paul started working later, started working weekends, or supposedly working weekends. I found out he was having an affair, and this relationship got extremely rocky.
Okay. And when you say extremely rocky, can you describe that?
There would be arguments, no physical, but a lot of verbal arguments about why he's been out so late, what time he's coming home, he's been gone since all day, those type of arguments.
Well, was there a point in time where it did get physical?
At one point in time, after I found out he was having an affair, I actually I didn't tell him the truth. I just wanted to make him mad, and I told him that, well, maybe Andre's not even yours. And he put his hand around my neck and threw me up against the wall.
And at the time, was he saying anything to you?
Cursing and screaming about how, how can I say that, and how can he not be his, and I mean, he looked exactly like him, but at the time, and yeah, it was just a lot of fussing. Andre happened to be in the next room, in the bedroom at the time. He was an infant, about a year old maybe.
Okay, when you say the next room, try as best as you can describe for the jury how far away that is.
Well, we were in the bathroom at the time, and it was just basically a wall, and his bedroom, well, our bedroom, he slept in the bedroom with us, was on the other side of the wall.
So it would have been approximately where Judge Harb is sitting.
Correct.
When you would have these verbal fights, would Andre be in the house as well?
He would be, yes.
And would it be kind of the same? Would it be the same situation where he would be in the next room?
That would be correct.
Now, eventually, did you and Paul split up?
We did.
And I mean, how many occasions did you find of infidelity? How many times did you find out he cheated on you?
At least twice.
And one of those people in particular had a very close relationship to your family.
It was my sister-in-law's sister.
Okay. And after the two of you split up, and can you just give us an idea of how long you were married before you divorced?
We were probably together for about a year, but the divorce, because we were both very young financially, probably was a couple of years later before the legal divorce was done.
So you were married and cohabitating for a year, and then what happened was you split up, separated, and then it took a couple of years for it to go through the system.
Correct.
So what do? Do you stay in Bristol, Pennsylvania, or do you go somewhere else?
No, I moved back home with mom and dad.
All right. And that would have been to Trenton, New Jersey.
That's correct.
And how long did you live with your mom and dad?
Probably a few more months till I got an apartment of my own.
Okay. And where was that apartment?
In the projects, Donnelly Homes in Trenton, New Jersey.
Okay. Now, I want to talk with you before we get into what life was like in Donnelly Homes. I want to talk with you a little bit more about Paul, okay?
Okay.
And the first topic I want to discuss with you is Paul coming to see Andre.
No.
You say no. Did he ever go visit Andre?
He probably came about 2 times.
2 times?
Yeah, in the few months that I was with my parents.
Okay. So 2 times in, you say a few months, was
It
that?
was about 4, maybe 5 months.
Okay. So not even once a month.
No.
During this point in time, did you learn that Paul had actually had a child with another person?
It was shortly later, yes, he wound up having a son with someone
And
else.
and at one point in time, with one of those 2 times that Paul came to visit Andre, did he bring someone with him?
He brought his newborn son.
And how did you respond to that?
I was upset. Here I am with his son. We had been married in love, and you just now disregard your son, and you just have another kid like Andre didn't exist.
Now, how old was Andre when this happened?
He was probably a couple years old by that time,
All right.
maybe a little older.
And now, eventually, did Andre develop some resentment towards Paul because of this?
I'm sure he did. Andre kept a lot of stuff in. We didn't.
Well, but at the time, when he was 2, did he have a real understanding of what this meant?
I don't believe he did at that time.
So he sees Andre twice, and then you move to Donnelly Homes. And tell us what, you said it was a project. I mean, let's talk about what that was like.
Low income, drug infested, gang infested, roach infested, just basically a lot of typical low income housing neighborhoods.
When you say drug infested, let's talk about that a little bit more. I mean, you're in the housing complex. Are you able to watch these drug deals happen?
Yeah, you look out your window and you can see everything going on right out your window.
Would you find evidence like pipes or syringes or
Through the
bags?
hallways, I lived on the 3rd floor, so people would just like sit in the hallways and smoke and stuff, and they'd leave the joint, the ends of the joints and stuff on the stairways.
Okay. You say roach infested. I mean, talk about that.
Just like a lot of projects, because of so many people living in such close quarters, you get a lot of bugs. And roaches were the bugs of those projects.
Would there be homeless people there?
I've never noticed any in where I lived at, in the building I lived at, but
Okay. But other buildings?
I'm sure, yeah. There was people just hanging out all the time. I don't know who lived there, who didn't live there. The girls had boyfriends, although they weren't supposed to be there, living with them.
Would there be, any violence in this area?
Yeah. There would be. I never can't say that I heard like gunshots or anything like that, but there'd be fighting and screaming and hollering and stuff like that in the neighborhood.
Would you hear, was there a police presence there?
Yes, they had police driving all around a lot.
Would you hear police sirens a lot?
Yes,
Every day?
nearly.
So you're a 18, 19-year-old mom, recently divorced, with a son who's about 2 years old at this time, right?
Yes.
How are you feeling as a mother at this point?
Overwhelmed.
What did you do for work?
I work part-time at a bakery.
And did you end up getting other jobs?
I did when I had gotten evicted from Donnelly Homes, and when I went to apply to get back in there, I started working maintenance in that.
How long were you at Donnelly Homes until you got evicted?
It had to be at least a year, so
And why did you get evicted?
non-payment of rent.
Is that because you?
I was working part-time. I wasn't getting child support. Trying to survive, on my own, raising my son.
Was Paul ordered to pay child support?
He was.
And did he?
He still owes me $30. My son's 31, so what's that tell you? No.
Now, let's talk a little bit more about Paul visiting and seeing Andre. And I just want to talk about this throughout the course of Andre's life. Okay? You know, we talked about the 2 times, but after that, did Paul ever come and see Andre at all?
I want to say I took him to see him at his apartment one time, and he couldn't stay because he was renting a room from somebody, and his girlfriend happened to be coming over, and he said that Andre couldn't stay.
Was there a time where you actually went back to court and discussed this with the judge?
I did, because we would be sitting out on the porch, me and my son, waiting for his dad to pick him up. No, he never show up. He wouldn't call. So eventually I went back to the courts and said, well, you know, it's unfair to my son. I'm sitting out here for hours waiting for Paul to show up. He never shows up. So what can I do? So they told me at that point I had to wait 1 hour. If he didn't show up, then I could leave.
And how many times would this happen? Let me kind of put this in context. What was Paul's planned visitation?
Every other weekend and every Wednesday, which was his day off.
All right, so once a week and sometimes twice a week.
Correct.
And so I mean, other than you taking Andre to see him at the apartment, you and Andre are sitting out in front of your steps about 6 times a month waiting on Paul to come visit him or pick him up.
That's correct.
And Paul never did.
That's correct.
Now we know about you. I mean, how old is Andre while this is going on?
That went on for probably at least a year. I'd say more than 6 months to a year.
What would you say to Andre?
Like I said, I was a young mother. I know I could have done things different. It was just, come on, let's go. And I would try to, take his mind off of it. Let's go do something else. Or let's go play something or something of that nature. Just so, eventually I just stopped waiting. I didn't even care what the court said at that time. I couldn't see my son keep going through that.
Was it having an effect on him?
Andre was having behavior problems in school. So I'm sure that
was that making him sad?
Yeah.
Would you ever talk with Andre about his feelings? Like, hey, buddy, how do you feel about your dad not coming to see you?
I did not, no.
Why not?
I never even thought about it, honestly.
So was Andre, even at a young age, really given an opportunity to express how he felt about his dad rejecting him?
No.
So we're talking birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Father's Day. No Paul.
No Paul.
How long so you lived in Donnelly Homes for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
You were evicted for non-payment. Then you moved to another neighborhood.
I moved back home for a short period of time and then moved back out, yeah.
Okay. And did you move back to Donnelly Homes or did you move someplace else?
I had moved to an apartment across town. Andre
Okay.
was probably about 5 because he was like in kindergarten at that age.
And how long did you live in that apartment?
Not very long. I'd say about 6 months or so.
And was that very similar? Was that a similar low-income place?
No,
like
that was
Donnelly?
an actual rented apartment.
Okay. So it was a different type of atmosphere for a little bit then?
Yes.
What led to you moving back to Donnelly Homes?
The apartment was, once again, I was, my own income. But at that time I was working, but I was working 2 jobs to pay for the rent. So Andre was with my parents quite a bit. So I felt like the purpose of, I'm trying to put my son in a better apartment, but I'm never seeing him. He's never with me. So I decided to leave that apartment.
Now, how old is Andre at this point?
About 5.
Are you starting, you were talking about some things with Andre and some behavioral things that you began to observe. Now, had you made some attempts to put Andre into preschool?
Yes.
And the next area I want to talk with you about is more just Andre's development and preschool and elementary school time, okay? Now, we had just said that you had made some attempts to get Andre into preschools. Talk to us about what that was like.
He had attended one preschool, and they asked me to remove him because he was very active, fighting with other kids, and so I took him out of there. I found one other preschool, and it was a similar situation until we came across the last preschool that he stayed at for quite a while. Who they were more like motherly and caring, and they was able to deal with Andre's activeness at that school better.
So when you talk about Andre being active, let's focus on that for a few minutes. You know, what does that mean for Andre?
It means that Andre could not sit still. Andre was all over the place. He tried to start walking at 9 months. He just didn't want to stay still at all. He was constantly on the go.
Could you get Andre to stay focused on anything?
Not for long periods of time, no.
Were you very patient with Andre with that?
I could say no.
Okay. Let's talk about these preschool times and the things that maybe a parent would do with a child at home. How often would you read to Andre?
Maybe a couple times a week.
And tell us about the couple times that you did do it.
We would read for a short period of time. Once again, like I said, Andre was very active. He couldn't stay focused very long. So we'd be reading and maybe something else catches attention and he'd want to go do that instead of what we were doing. So the reading would stop. Same with the schoolwork, anything we started doing.
And so that would be reading, would that be alphabet?
Alphabet, like he had those little alphabet books and the numbers that you trace like that, and be a short period of time. Once again, he'd get bored with it and that would stop.
We're talking about 2 times a week. You said a couple times a week.
Correct.
I mean, what about the other 4 or 5 days a week?
He'd play in his room, he'd watch TV.
Would you make any sort of attempt to even try to work with him?
Honestly, no.
Why not? Was that a patience issue for you?
I would say it would be. I didn't know any better at the time. You know? Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Just take a minute.
Okay.
Now, as far as your move back to Donnelly Homes, at this point in time, you said Andre would have been about 5 years old or so.
He was probably closer to 6 when we got back that way, yeah.
Had Donnelly Homes changed at all?
Not really.
Would Andre be able to go outside and play there because of how it was?
If I was sitting right in front with him, I'd let him be outside for a little while, but more often I would take him to a park instead.
But unless you were there, you say a little while, how long would you let him stay outside?
Maybe half hour or so. Yeah, it wasn't the best place. I mean, there wasn't much to do there.
And so to take him to a park, that would require you to have to go somewhere, right?
Yes.
Would you be able to do that with your jobs?
By that time, I wasn't working both jobs. I was, once again, unemployed. Well, I started working for the housing, but so it was only daytime. And it wasn't often because I worked all day, 8 to 4:30.
Now, at this age, is Andre pretty aware of Paul's absence from his life?
Yeah.
And when you would take Andre to the park, would you see how, would you see Andre respond to male adults at all?
Yeah, he always like gravitated towards, if there was a man there playing ball with his son, he would want to go over there and play with them. And, you know, he was, I believe, looking for that father figure that he didn't have.
And at this point in time, your father had become to have, had come to have an even more, or a larger presence in
Yes,
Andre's life.
definitely.
But would there be times where even your father would be with you at the park and
And
Andre
he
would?
still go, yes. He still try to play with somebody else and their dad.
Okay, so even though George was there, he'd still try to play with someone else's dad.
Yes.
Now, I want to talk with you about someone that you met while you were living at Donnelly Homes, okay? And that person's name is Willie Smith, okay? Who was Willie Smith?
He was a maintenance worker at the time where I started working with maintenance.
And before we get into the specifics of your relationship with Mr. Smith, if you could, for the jury, describe in one word your relationship with Mr. Smith.
Toxic.
Now, was that relationship abusive?
Yes.
And I want to talk with you about that, okay? When we say abusive, that can mean many different things. So let's talk about one of the easier parts, verbal. Was it verbally abusive?
Yes.
Describe for the jury how it was verbally abusive.
He would call me names, call me a slut, call me the B word. Anything that he could think of. Tell me I was a bad mother, things of that nature.
Was Andre, where was he when this would happen?
He would be in the apartment.
And we talked about, at the place in Pennsylvania, we talked about how, Andre would be in a room that was, just as close as where you are to the judge's bench. Where would Andre be in the apartment?
In that case, my bedroom would be here. There was a bathroom like where the judge is, and then where the clerk is sitting would be Andre's bedroom. So he would be about that far.
When Mr. Smith would say these types of things to you, and we said verbal, but the things he would say, would you say to you, would that also be emotional abuse? Would
Yes,
you consider that to be emotional abuse?
Definitely.
And mental abuse?
Correct.
When he would do this to you, would he do it in a loud voice?
We would both get pretty loud.
Okay. Pretty loud. Were you yelling?
Yes.
Now, I want to talk with you about some of the other things he would do. And I want to focus on the things that would happen while Andre was in the apartment. Okay? Do you need a minute?
No, okay.
And I'll just ask it to you this way. Would he stalk you?
He did.
Describe for the jury how he would stalk you.
On one occasion, an apartment that I lived in, it was on the first floor, and my door was behind a stairway. He unscrewed the light bulb so that it would be dark, and Andre and I was coming into the apartment one time, and he was standing there in the dark and just jumped out at me. So he was just waiting for me to get home, just standing in the dark hallway.
Okay, he jumped out at you?
Yeah.
Tell me about your response to that.
I screamed. Andre jumped back, and I said, "Oh, it's okay. It's only Daddy," because at the time he would call him Daddy. And, he'd be scared, but I try to, alleviate the situation, not to let him be scared of the situation.
Would he do other things?
I remember when I started dating my daughter's father, I came home one time and he just jumped out of the bushes at me and asked me, where you been at? Who you been with? You're a slut, and continued on with that type of language, even though we were not at the time seeing each other.
Would he do other things in the apartment?
He sexually assaulted me on more than one occasion.
And you say on more than one occasion, how often was this, how long did this relationship last?
Our relationship was on and off for about 10 years.
And how often would he sexually assault you?
A couple times a week.
And how would that happen?
He'd just come in the house. There was times that he would come over and visit, and he would unlock my windows when I was like in the other room or something.
Excuse me, Judge. Can we take a break for a minute?
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury will take a recess for about 20 minutes.
All rise. Just leave your notebooks.
Okay, it seems as though the defendant, Andre Warner, has asked for a moment. As we've been watching his mother testify on his behalf in the penalty phase, I'm seeing him struggling to keep it together here. There was a moment he couldn't any longer, and he asked for a break. Again, I have Robert Sanders still with me watching along this morning so far. Robert, is that how you maybe read it as well? And Andre doesn't seem like he wants to show emotion in front of this jury.
He doesn't. And, as just in the male posture, he's trying to, as they often say, be a man, and men don't cry. But he's listening to his mother talk about her struggles, being abused, trying to provide for him. And it took its toll.
It did. She was talking about some of the relationships she's had since Andre Warner, or while he was growing up. She was delving into details about being sexually abused. And that's the moment I think he just couldn't take it anymore. I believe the court they sent the jury out for a break, and the court is going to take a quick break. So while they're in a recess, everyone takes a deep breath. Let's do the same thing, and don't go anywhere though. We're going to squeeze in this break. We'll be right back to take you inside this courtroom. This is Court TV.